Hello, people of the internet. It is I, Gabriel890, back again with another video. Alright, so this is going to be a two-part video. Number one is going to be just a few pickups that I've had lately that are pretty sweet. And then part two is actually going to be some Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace pickup stories. So, starting us off, we got Evil West. I heard good things. People were saying that it was kind of an underrated game from last year, and I agree. I was able to find it for $37, and I really enjoyed it. It's a little rough around the edges, but like the combat was cool, the levels were awesome, and one thing that I enjoyed, along with a lot of other people, is that it was just kind of more of a linear experience. Like there's a little bit of exploring here and there, but for the most part, you're just kind of on your set path, and you get through to figure out what's going on. So while we have all these open world games, which I love and they're awesome, they take a lot of time. So I was able to finish this one in about 8 hours, and I definitely enjoyed that. Okay, speaking of open world games, we got Hogwarts Legacy, which I picked up day one, and I've definitely enjoyed my time with it. I put in about 20 hours, and I feel like I've just scratched the surface, like in so many aspects. But I was a little worried they would end up being like more of a generic Harry Potter game, more based on the movies or whatever, like the past ones. But it's like, no, this had a lot of love and attention put into it. The detail is incredible. It's just so cool to be able to explore Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and like the countryside, and you can just go all over and do whatever you want. And yeah, definitely really like this game so far. And definitely looking forward to playing Dead Space, which I'm actually borrowing from my brother. He's a diehard fan, and he picked this up day one, beat it, and said it is a worthy remake you must play. I finally played the original 1, 2, and 3 about 2 years ago, and definitely understood the hype and why so many people love this series. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to be able to play an awesome remake shortly. Okay, and then this is a game that I definitely had my eyes on, but I was a little busy with a game called God of War Ragnarok, so I decided to wait for a little bit of a deal on it, and I finally got that deal. So Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I had played the remake of 7, loved it, and so it only made sense to pick this up. And so I was able to get it for $32. I had a few coupons, and it was on sale for $40 at GameStop. So yeah, definitely looking forward to giving this one a go shortly as well. Okay. And then we got Infamous Collections. We got 1 and 2, and then we got the Festival of Blood. So yeah, I found this in the pawn shop. They were asking 12. I said, how about 10? They said, okay. So yeah, I was able to grab this for $10, and I was definitely happy about that. Okay, this one could have been a story for the ages, but unfortunately, it still worked out okay. But let me tell you what I mean. So I went to this pawn shop, and they had a bunch of games. They were pretty reasonably priced, but I wasn't really seeing anything in particular. But then underneath the table, there was this crate. It was just filled with a bunch of other games, and it looked like they were kind of older generation games. So I'm like, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm rummaging through, and boom, I pull out Breath of Fire 4 for the PS1, and there's no price tag on it. But the thing was, there was some games that were priced pretty close to the going rate, give or take. And I'm like, this is probably going to be the same case, but hey, let's just check it out. And so I go up to the guy, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy these movies, and then I found this game, and it doesn't have a price tag. And so he kind of glances down at it, and he's like, let's see, okay, the movies, $3 a piece, and I could do $1 on that. And I remember, like, my heart was like, I don't even know. It was like going 1,000 miles an hour. I'm like, $1? Like, okay. I'm just trying to like hold my composure. And then he kind of like looks at it more, and he's like, oh, that's a PlayStation game? Hold on, let me check something. And so he takes it and like goes over to the computer, and then my heart for sure like dropped, like, dang it. And so I'm just sitting there like, oh, what's the damage going to be? And so he comes back and he's like, well, this one's kind of pricey, but I could do 50. And obviously that's not like what I wanted, and it's not great, But it is going for about 120 to 150 on eBay. And I'm telling you, this is mint. Like, just a beautiful case. The artwork is flawless. The disc is flawless. Not even a single scratch. And so I'm like, you know what? I feel a little better about it. Like, yeah, $1 would have been awesome, but I would have felt bad in a way. So, anyways, $50, not too bad, and I was able to pick that up. Okay, so that's gonna end the pickup part of the video, and we're gonna move on to Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace pickup stories. Okay, starting us off is my first ever Craigslist encounter. The second day of college, my computer went on the fritz and just went out, and so I needed a new computer, obviously. And so I went on Craigslist, and I find this Asus $900 gaming laptop. The guy's asking 400, so it's like, hey, that's pretty good. Like, let's go check it out. So I get there, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I've barely used this thing. This is my backup computer. I use my tower for everything. I probably put less than 20 hours on this. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is all sounding good. So we open up the laptop, and first thing I notice is the keyboard and the trackpad have completely lost their finish. Like, it's basically like looking into a mirror. And I'm like, yeah, you don't get the gloss like this from 20 hours of use. So yeah, that's red flag number one. And then I notice that down in the lower right corner, this little notification keeps popping up that there's an error with the battery. So basically, this thing does not function unless it is plugged in. So I was right then and there, I'm like, yeah, no way. This is ridiculous, man. Like, you've obviously put hundreds of hours on this thing and run it into the ground. So I was like, no, I'm going to pass on this. And I left. Okay, so that was my first buying experience. But my first selling experience was bad, but it ended up okay. So I was selling my old phone, and it was going for about $100 for the phone itself on eBay. And so I was asking 80, and it came with a whole bunch of accessories, and it was in great shape and even had the box. And this guy's like, hey, I'm interested. When are you available? I said, anytime. He said, okay, how about 3 o'clock at Walmart? I said, okay, sounds good. So we meet at the parking lot. I get there right on time. So I'm sitting there waiting 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. So finally I reach out, what's going on? And, oh yeah, no, on my way. So he gets there 25 minutes late. So I'm a little annoyed by that, but whatever. And so he's looking over the phone, and then he's like, you know what? I'll take it. How about 60? And I was like, well, no, I'm not really looking for offers. It's going for 100 on eBay. I feel like 80 is pretty fair. He's like, well, yeah, but if you do the 60, you get cash right now, and you don't have to deal with eBay. And I'm like, no, 80 is a good price. That's what I want. And he's like, well, then no. And it was just the shift in his demeanor. First he's being all nice, and then it's when I kind of tell him, no thanks on your offer, then he gets all upset about it. It's like, dude, you knew what the price was, and yeah, if you wanted to send an offer, I feel do that beforehand. But they have their tactics that they want to try, to get you to kind of feel stressed in the moment and just do it. But yeah, I'm like, no thanks. And so I go back home, and I'm annoyed because now I just lost half an hour and didn't sell the phone because he's late, and then tries to get me to lower my price for no reason. And as soon as I get home, I get an email from someone else saying, hey, is the phone available? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yes, it is. And I can meet you at this gas station that's right by my house because I'm not about to be driving across town again. And luckily, the second guy was a lot better. Showed up, gave me $80. He was happy with the phone. I was happy with my money. And that was that. And then actually, that ended up being the day that South Park: The Stick of Truth came out. And so with my extra $80, I cruised over to GameStop and picked that up, and ended up being a pretty good weekend. So yeah, like I said, bad than good. Okay, and then next up, we got some empty cases. So I'm always on the lookout for empty cases. It's just always nice to have backups, especially if they're in good condition, obviously, because then when I have a game that comes in a rougher shaped case, then I can just swap it out. We're good to go. So anyways, this guy's selling a box of about 40 empty cases for $10. And so I was like, yeah, I'm all over that. So the guy gives me the address, and I'm heading over, and I'm driving down the street. And it's kind of a nice middle class neighborhood, like nicer houses, and the yards are well maintained and looking good. And I'm getting near the end of the street, closer to the house, and it's what you would call the eyesore of the neighborhood. Like, the grass is overgrown, there's weeds everywhere, the trash can hasn't been brought in, there's garbage like all over the sidewalk and their driveway. And I'm just like, oh gosh dang it. Whatever. So I pull up and I'm getting out of my car, and I notice front door is ajar. No one's at the front door, but it's just like slightly open. The garage door is partially up, and I can hear people in there watching TV in the garage. So it's like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. But as soon as I set foot on the driveway, it was like being hit in the face with just this nasty cloud of, I don't know, like garbage, and it smelled terrible. And my first thought was, oh no, these cases are plastic, and plastic just absorbs odors like none other, and does not like to let go. And I'm like, these cases are gonna reek, and I'm gonna bring them home, and it's gonna like transfer over. So I'm like, nope, it's not worth it. And so I just like quietly like went back down the driveway, got my car, drove away, and then messaged the guy and just said, hey, I'm sorry, something came up, I'm gonna have to pass. Because it was like not worth the risk, and I feel like I definitely dodged a bullet there. Okay, now of course everybody's got to have that midnight pickup story. Now, unfortunately, this one wasn't like getting some crazy rare game, but it was a solid deal. So I emailed the guy, and it was almost midnight, and I'm not expecting a reply until the next day, but like he emails me back like right away saying, "Oh yeah, hey yeah, they're still available." And so I was interested in the Onimusha trilogy plus Blade Warriors. And he was asking $10 for all of them. And I was like, okay, when are you available to meet? And he's like, you tell me. And I was like, well, I'm a night owl. I'm up, you're up. Like, if you want to meet, I'm down. He's like, yeah, sure. So we agreed on this gas station, met up there. And $10 later, I had a bunch of Onimusha games. So that's my crazy midnight pickup story. Okay, now this one, I learned a lesson. A valuable lesson. So, here we have Modern Warfare 2019. So, the weekend that this came out, Best Buy actually had a deal where if you spent $100 on video games, then you got a $30 gift card. And so, I had the Gamers Club unlocked. And so, you got 20% off all games. So if you bought a brand new $60 game, out the door it was about $52, $53. And so I'm like, hey, I'll go buy 2 copies of this game, this Call of Duty game that just dropped, sell them for $52. They should sell pretty quick, because that's 20% off the brand new Call of Duty game, and then I'll have a free $30 gift card. And so the first copy sells that night, like no hassle. The guy like shows up, grabs it, he's happy, and that's that. So then I have the second copy. And that one, I don't know why it had to be so hard, but of course I get a bunch of lowballers. Hey, what'd you do? 40. It's like, dude, the game came out this weekend. Like, you're not going to find it for 52 anywhere. Like, this is a solid deal that I'm passing on to you. And I even had one guy that basically tried to, like, convince me that it was in my best interest to sell it to him for 40 because if he went and bought it at a retail store for only $8 more, of course they leave out the tax, then he would have a sealed copy, and he would have the peace of mind of a warranty. It's like, go do that then if it's only $8 more, when in reality it's actually about $12 more. So anyways, I get a guy that's like, hey, I'm interested, but I have like my kid's school event tonight, so like, can you hold it for me and I'll pick it up? And for those that have sold a lot on Craigslist / Facebook Marketplace, you know where this is going. But I'm like, sure, you got your family stuff. That's cool. Like, I'll hold the game. Seemed like a pretty reputable guy. So the next day, I wake up and there's like nothing from him. So I wait a little while. Nothing. And so I message him, hey, the game's still available. I held it for you. When are you going to be able to come pick it up? and he sees the message, no reply, for like an hour. And so I'm like, hey, what's going on? Sees the message, no reply. And so then I see what's going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like, come on. And the reason why I was so annoyed, not only did he just like ghost me, was just more the fact that two other people had reached out the night before as well, saying, hey, is this available? I can come pick it up. And I said, well, it's pending. I'll let you know if it falls through or not. I messaged both of those people saying, hey, it fell through. It's available. And no reply. So it's like, I guess they were interested yesterday, but not today. But yeah, so then I had to hold on to it for like another week before someone finally was willing to pay my ridiculous asking price of $52 for a brand new Call of Duty game. And yeah, so moral of the story, don't hold games for anybody, because it's just, I swear, you just hear so many stories of people getting burned by it. But okay, last but not least, and this is kind of what prompted me to make this video, because I just found it so humorous. So, here we have a phenomenal remake of The Last of Us Part 1. So I picked this up. Day one, played through it, loved it, and then I put it on the shelf. But then I had this idea, wait a minute. You know, I love this game. I have played through it on PS3, PS4, and now PS5. I know it backwards and forwards. Like, I might as well sell it, and then when I'm ready to play it again in a couple years, then I can just pick it up for a little cheaper. And so I have it listed for $60. Okay, you know, you don't have to love the price, but that's kind of the going rate on eBay. But don't tell anybody, but I'm willing to go down to 55. Now I know that's not like phenomenal, but I like to have a little wiggle room because people like to haggle, myself included. So anyways, I get this girl message me and she's like, hey, I'll give you 40 for it. And I was like, the lowest I can do is 55. And then she messages, dude, I could get it for 45 at GameStop. And then she sends me the screenshot of their listing. And sure enough, it's on sale right now, this week, for $50. So then used, it's 45. But then I did a little digging, and it's like, okay, but it's not in stock in any GameStop within 100 miles of me. And so you would have to have it shipped. And I was not aware that it had gone up this high, but GameStop shipping is $8 for anything. And that's like completely absurd, but whatever. So you had $8 onto 45, you're at 53, and then you got tax. So you're looking at like $57 to have it shipped to you. And, you know, but she's sitting here trying to say, well, I can get it for 45. And I was like, well, then do it. And then it was the reply that got me. She goes, well, I'll give you one more chance. I was like, you know, like I was being ridiculous. You know, I need to accept her offer of 40 and do it. And it's like, you know what, shoot your offer, but like if someone says no thanks, then that's that. But it's just like this entitlement that's like overtaking the Facebook marketplace, where they think that they deserve these prices, or you're being ridiculous but not lowering it. It's like, it's my property. I could do what I want. So anyways, yeah, I just like laughed and then left the conversation. And I'm like, you know, it's going to be funny when she tries to go buy it from GameStop for 45 and then very shortly discovers that it's not going to be 45. So, yeah. You got to love the tactics and the things that they try. And it's like, maybe they're just oblivious and they don't think of like tax and shipping and all the other costs that they kind of try to throw in there. Or they're just scumbags. Who knows? But anyways, so that's going to wrap it up here. Thanks for sticking around, and let me know, actually, real quick. Let me know, like, what Craigslist stories you have, or Facebook Marketplace stories. Like, they'll make me angry, usually, but at the same time, they're very entertaining and make for a good story. So, yeah, have a good one, and thanks for watching.